grew up.
Hi, this is Patrick Sweeney from ODIN, coming to you from another beautiful location. I'm in the Swiss Alps. And you might be wondering, like a lot of the intros to my video blogs, what the heck does this have to do with RFID? Well, hang on just a second and I'll tell you. We recently came out with the 2010 RFID handheld reader benchmark. It was a big success. We compared 8 of the leading handheld readers head-to-head in a lot of scientific testing and then some specific use case testing. Folks asked us, well, what went into that testing? How'd you determine which the best reader was? Well, ODIN in the ODIN labs has performed over 30 RFID benchmarks. We've long been known as the Switzerland of RFID, comparing things objectively, head-to-head, being neutral, so we can provide the best results to you, the end user, and you can make an informed buying decision. So you're wondering what went into the handheld reader benchmark? Let's go back to the ODIN labs in Ashburn, Virginia, and Mike and Brett will talk us through it.
Hey Mike, it looks like you have a number of handheld RFID readers that ODIN recently benchmarked. Could you tell the viewers today a little bit about them?
Certainly. In our benchmark, we put the readers through a number of tests. We evaluate them on different criteria. What I want to talk to you about with today is what we cover in our performance testing section, and that deals with orientation sensitivity and how the different antenna polarizations that are featured here will impact your decision when you're deciding what handheld to use for your use case.
Great. Could you give us an example?
Certainly. So there are 2 main types of antenna polarization. There's a circularly polarized and then there's linearly polarized. This unit right here from Convergent Systems Limited is the CS101. This comes in, so this features a linearly polarized antenna. It comes in either horizontally polarized or vertically polarized.
Okay, so what does that mean then?
Good question. So polarization of an antenna will determine how you can best pick up tags. So with linearly polarized antennas, they only pick up tags that are in a certain orientation that align with the polarization of the antenna.
So I have an RFID tag here right now. So if I hold it horizontally, would you be able to pick it up with that device?
If this unit has a horizontally polarized antenna and I place it in the same plane as the tag, I will pick it up.
What if I put it vertically?
Well, that's when I start running into problems. If I'm really close, I can pick it up. It's in the near field, but once I start getting further back, pull away, let's say past 2 feet, I'm going to have pretty much 0 reads on that tag.
Okay, so then if I were to take a common asset that's tagged today, for example, blade servers in a data center, how would that impact the use case having a linearly polarized as opposed to a circularly polarized antenna on your handheld reader?
Okay, so let's say this is a linearly polarized antenna. I'm going through a data center. You can't really determine the polarization or the orientation of the tags. I would have to go in, I would have to actually rotate the unit in order to catch all the orientation possibilities of a tag.
I see. So what's the alternative to that?
Well, the alternative to that are the other types of antenna polarization is the circularly polarized.
I see.
Looking at these readers, you might have a hard time, you can't really tell which one is a circular or linearly polarized antenna. But we certainly cover all that in the benchmark. We outline each one, we tell you each where it is. Otherwise, you'd have to go through all the spec sheets from the manufacturers, and that's no fun. Nobody likes looking at spec sheets. So we have a couple of circularly polarized antennas over here. The one I really want to outline and highlight is the Motorola MC3090Z, just released from Motorola. This one's exciting because it has a combination of a linearly and a circularly polarized antenna.
Why would they do that?
Well, the linearly polarized antennas do much better at longer read ranges.
I see.
So for instance, this reader right here, the one, the CS101, can pick up tags much further away than a standard circularly polarized antenna, because circularly polarized antennas are really for, let's say, a closer range, and they can pick up tags within any orientation. So
what's closer range to you? Is that 2 feet? Is that
so I'm talking about a
feet?
use case of within 5 to 15 feet. But we do go through intense distance testing with all of these units, and still within the performance section where we test each of them and how they pick up different types of tags. Let's say, for instance, for metal mount tag for smaller IT assets, or let's say the standard alien squiggle for your boxes and RF neutral material. And then we also outline a much higher read range tag, like the Omni ID Ultra. And we go through and we figure out where these can best pick up those tags.
I see. So with the unit you have in your hand then, or the other circularly polarized antennas associated with the handheld readers, if I hold this RFID tag like this, you can read it.
Certainly.
If I hold it like this, you can also read it.
Yeah.
And no difference in performance?
Absolutely none.
I see. Now, for blade servers then, the user would then be able to come in and be able just to do one scan. They don't have to do a scan horizontally and vertically?
Exactly.
I see. And would that be any different if you're looking at aerospace parts? It might be randomly stacked, or other items that could be tagged different than IT assets, or is it pretty much the same? It's depending on the tag itself.
Well, I mean, it's for randomly oriented tags, it's the same all across the board. It doesn't matter whatever it's on.
Okay.
I can go in and just scan everything.
All right, well, that's wonderful. And one of the things I think you found in the testing was that some of the circularly polarized handhelds also actually have very good read distance.
Yeah,
so
certainly. I don't want to give away too much now. I feel you're trying to get some information out of me, but we'll save that for the benchmark.
From an end user standpoint, though, we're starting to see units that actually have a nice combination of orientation and sensitivity so that end users can actually have an easier time when they're trying to pick up tags, search for tags, do an inventory, but also they can do it at a much longer range than they would have been able to 3 or 4 years ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, certainly from our previous benchmark we released, you've seen many improvements from even the circularly polarized antennas. But I have to remark, it's really dependent on your use case. So you don't want to count out the linearly polarized antennas because they're going to give you the read range, and ultimately it's up to you to decide per your use case. And luckily, that's what the benchmark's for. We outline everything, we go over all the features, we have everything lined up side by side, and we also show you how they actually perform in real use case, real world applications.
Well, I think what you covered is you covered different applications people are using. You did performance, obviously, in terms of orientation, sensitivity, and distance. You also did flexibility in terms of the development platforms, because a lot of times you have to integrate these into back-end systems. And I think there's also sections on price and then weight and other ergonomic issues. Is that correct? Yeah,
certainly. We weigh them on our scales here. We figure out how much they actually weigh versus what the spec sheet says. And really, the fun information to look is to see how these compare in price, and that's all listed in the benchmark.
Well, that's great. Could you tell the viewers today where they might be able to pick up a copy of the benchmark?
Certainly. If you want a copy of the benchmark, go to www.odintechnologies.com. You'll see a link in the lower right corner that says benchmarks. Click there and you can get your copy today.
Well, that's great. Thanks a lot, Mike, today. And we hope the viewers learned a lot. You can learn more about RFID, modules, readers, tags by going to odintechnologies.com in both the block section and the Learn RFID section, as well as the scientific benchmark section. We have a wealth of information about the scientific performance of RFID tags and readers and other peripherals. And we hope that provides useful service to you as an end user and helps you, allows you to make better buying decisions. So thank you very much today, and we hope you learned a lot.